What's up, sweet and sour comic book fans? It was slim pickings this week, but the pickings that we got were pretty good. Some Silver Age goodness coming at you again. All right, the first comic book we're going to talk about today is Spider-Man number 74, second appearance of Silvermane. We haven't read it yet. Sam is waiting on getting issue number 50, first appearance of Kingpin, before he goes back and runs through the Amazing Spider-Man issues that he has already. He knows the basic story, though, that old guy takes a potion and it transforms him into Silvermane. We made a deal with each other. He said he's going to start reading the X-Men at number 94, starting at 94, and I'm going to start reading Spider-Man as soon as we get number 50. And so, which means he's going to kind of coerce me into getting number 50.
What? No.
Because, yeah, oh, come on. We'll probably go in halvesies. Probably.
Uh-huh.
Because he's not going to want a crappy copy of number 50. And guess who else is not going to want a crappy copy of number 50? Because if I'm going to get books like that, I want books that matter. And I want books that
good condition
will be in great condition and will appreciate, and he can show his kids without fear of them falling apart.
Yeah.
All right, so then this whole week we planned on going to some garage sales. We looked them up on Facebook, and the first garage sale that we saw basically had vintage toys and comics posted. So we got the address of that, wrote it down. We looked through a few other garage sales, didn't see anything. The morning of Saturday, right before we left, there was another garage sale that popped up, and it was primarily Funko Pops. But Sam said, hey, they also got some comic books there. And I said, okay. And he said, and I know for sure at least one is a Silver Age, because the one on top and the two little piles that they had was a Silver Age comic. I said, okay. I said, which one do you want to go to first? And he says, well, the one I just found opens 30 minutes before the one that we had found earlier in the week. I said, all right, let's go. One was 20 minutes away and one was 5 minutes away from the other one once we actually got out there. And when we got out there, true to their word, they had about, 500 Funko Pops?
Yeah, it was full garage.
Full two-stall garage, full of Funko Pop. And right on the table right in front of them where they were taking the cash, they had some comic books. And we started looking at them. They had a couple of DC books that I thought were kind of cheesy and weird. Almost bought one of them. Thought about it, then put it back. They had a ton of Marvel Silver Age, though. Primarily Marvel Tales.
Mm-hmm. No, it was like...
Or Marvel...
It was like Tales of Suspense. Like,
it was just books that Sam and I really weren't into per se, and Sam knew because he's got a great memory for these things that none of them were major keys or even minor keys, so nothing really to trade, anything of value to trade. So that's the biggest reason why I didn't pick any of those issues up. But we did find 4 issues that tripped our trigger a little bit, and the first issue that we found was the Mighty Thor 158. It's a major key, and Sam and I are both having a good laugh over that because it's a major key because it's his origin story retold. It's pretty good, I mean, as far as the story goes, but it's something that everybody kind of knew before.
yeah.
But we get to see it again. And as Sam says, and we do love Marvel, but as Sam says, that's just kind of lazy, doing a retold origin story that everybody already knows about. And I was jokingly telling Sam, I said, an editor probably missed his deadline or a artist missed a deadline, so they had to just kind of start here and do a little origin story. So the second issue we found, again, it was another Mighty Thor issue. This one was a 15-center, and it was issue 175, The Fall of Asgard. I thumbed through that book too. I thought the story was decent. This book is in exceptional shape. The pages are white, the cover's crisp and clear. There's no wrinkles, no little ticks or scratches. If it was a major key, I might actually consider doing the crazy thing and getting it graded, but I'm not going to. I think Sam and I are going to use all 4 of these books eventually for trading. There's a huge comic book convention coming next week that we're going to be going to. It's the Omaha O-Con, and it's all the vendors from around the Midwest are going to go there, and it's one of the Midwest's biggest conventions next to some of the ones that are in Kansas City. The one thing I want to say is that with all these books, we got a really good deal on them, which I'll let you know what that was here at the end of the video. So then we got some early issues of Invincible Iron Man. Again, Silver Age stuff. Issue number 12 and 14. Both of them are minor keys and cool covers. I think both the covers are really neat. One of the things that I really, really love about the Silver Age stuff is the artwork. I talk about it a lot on this program, that I think one of the things that got lost, the newer comics got, is the really sense of what real comic book artwork is. To me, comic book artwork is more like this. Like issue 12, first appearance of the Comptroller. The Controller. I'm sorry, not a Comptroller.
Like a controller.
Yeah, like a controller. Sorry, guys, a controller. It's just cool art. The cover, you're just drawn to it, and that's one of the things that I can say a lot of modern comics. Like, I go into the comic book shops nowadays, and I enjoy going there with my son, and I think comic books are really cool. But a lot of those new books, like if I saw this book on a shelf, man, I'd be snatching that up. I mean, it's a cool looking book. If I saw some modern book up on a shelf next to it, I'd be snatching this one up because this one's the cool cover, as opposed to, it almost looks like somebody's trying to do like either this grandiose watercolor painting or this grandiose oil painting of whatever book. I mean, take your pick, whether it's X-Men or Batman or Spider-Man or Superman. They don't have quite that comic book feel that I loved to see when I was growing up as a kid. Not that I don't like modern books. I'm trying to collect up to them now. It's not quite the same feel.
Yeah, they're not the same.
We had a little technical difficulty. I kicked the table at the end of the last clip, but I've got a pro editor, so you'll probably never even know, except for the fact that I just told you. Last issue that we got here is issue 14, and it's the first appearance of the Night Phantom.
Yeah.
Another minor key of Invincible Iron Man. One thing I gotta say, and now I'm having a little bit of buyer's remorse the opposite way. So we got those 4 books for $30. And they're all, in my opinion, except for maybe that first Thor issue, because if you open the pages up, they're kind of off-white and there's a little bit of foxing, that brown color you kind of see on the pages of that first issue or that first book. This one right here. But these 3 books right here, you open them up, pages are crisp, white, there's no dings, dents, creases in the covers, there's no ticks in the spines. They're really good books. I would say they would benefit all 4 of them just from a nice, good cleaning and maybe a professional press. But on a good day, I'd say the 3 out of those 4 books, geez, they're probably a 7.
Yeah, 7.
At least, maybe a 7.5, and if you press them out, they'd get to an 8. again, looking at this last cover here, it's just cool. Again, it's so dynamic. And Sam even commented when we were driving home. He said, if I saw this on a newsstand and I was a kid back, in the late 60s, early 70s, he's like, I'd pull that right off the rack. He goes, giant robots, guy in...
The depth work is just like the shadowing is just so good.
It really is. It's a nice issue. It makes me, and I've never hated or liked Iron Man, but it makes me want to read it, which would get me into it, which is exactly what comic book writers and artists want you to do. They want you to read their books. They want to stay in business, but they want to do it for us, because they like doing this stuff. And my buyer's remorse is, as I was looking at these books, I told Sam off camera, I said, I should have probably bought all those Silver Age books. Not the DC, maybe the DC. I mean, just to buy the stack. But the books were so good. I mean, the books that we didn't want, just because they weren't keys and we were thinking, okay, well, we can resell these or whatever, they were all in this shape. And I asked the dude, I said, where did you get these? Because him and his buddy were obviously Funko Pop guys. And he was pretty clueless, honestly, about the whole thing. He said, I bought them from this guy, and he was talking about, and again, this is how he knew he didn't know a lot about comics in general. He was talking about how they were factory sealed. And I'm like, factory sealed? And I just kind of blew that comment off, and just because they were actually very, very nice guys. And we made a deal, and I bought the books. And then when I got in the car with Sam, I said, I know what he meant by factory sealed. He meant that they were backed and with boards and put in plastic and taped shut. And I don't think really he knew that they didn't come like this. Like, he bought them from probably a guy who had some Funko Pops or something. Yeah. And he said he bought them and they'd just been sitting in his house and he wanted to get rid of them, and he thought that this was a good opportunity.
Because they were moving or something.
Because they were gonna be moving soon. So I think I'm gonna try and contact this guy and see if they have any more Silver Age or have those books that he left over after Ocon this weekend, and see if I can't make maybe a little deal with him for some more trading stuff. All right, so I hope you liked our little short stack this week. Something I forgot to mention is the Controller book. I think is the best book that we got out of all these 5 issues this week. It's, when we looked at it online and looked at it on eBay and stuff, it ranges, especially in this condition, between $30 and $45 to $50. So this one book alone basically equaled more than what we paid for all 4 of them. So we know that this is good trading stock right here. And once again, it wasn't me who knew that. It was my 13-year-old son, who's an encyclopedia, it seems like, of the Silver Age. And it was literally some little blurb that he heard on another website or another YouTube channel that this was the first appearance of this character, and it was a major key. And when he looked it up, sure enough it was. And I just think it's amazing that he knows so much about the Silver Age comics. The only thing I know more than him is the X-Men, just because that's what I collected. But he is really pretty good with a lot of those other books. So, as I'm letting him kind of fall here. So, again, I'm glad you guys took time to look at my channel. Like, subscribe, become a viewer, tell your friends, show them to Instagram. And this is Britton DeWeese and Sam DeWeese for Sweet and Sour Comics. And hopefully we'll have a great video next week when we go to Ocon.